All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the TimingResearch.com crowd forecast news for June 9th, 2025. We are recording this at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and this is episode number 480. So today I have arranged for Michael Filighera, Sonny Harris, and Harry Boxer to join us again. And the option professor is here to moderate, so I'm going to turn it over to him.
Okay. All right, Dave, thank you very much. And thank you guys for being here. And we are going to get right into it here because the stock market is very close to its all-time high. And this is a big week because we're going to have some information on China coming out. We also have the CPI and a full moon. So that's a full docket for the market, right?
Right.
So let's see. And the full moon and the CPI coming out are on the same day. So talk about a volatile day, maybe. But anyway, let's get into it right here. Sonny, give us a little idea with the S&P up here around 6,000 or so. What do you think's happening, and where do you think we're going?
Well, let's put the S&P up on my chart. Can I? Can
Yeah,
I?
yeah, yeah. Share your chart. Yeah, and let's see what the bands are saying.
Okay.
You should be able to now.
You see it?
I see
No,
you.
it's not
I see.
it's
Nope,
not
it's different
sharing.
now.
Let's try again.
Mm,
Share.
Okay, now it's loading,
And
and then
there you
now we
go.
see it.
We got them.
you see the sunny bands?
The
Yeah.
bands of brothers.
They tell everything.
Hmm.
This is the SPY, the ES, E-mini S&P.
Hmm.
And we're closed above 6,000 here and touching the upper inner band, which is this one. So we're touching the upper inner band. We will go for that upper outer band. I'm pretty sure of that.
Now, where's your upper band coming in at so we can work with numbers because the numbers are pretty
And
small.
it's
That's 6038 or
that are 39, yeah.
6039. And then if we went up to the gold line, you're talking 6200 and change. Yeah.
6,200 and change, yep. And
All right. So,
I think we will get to there. Now we're going to have some hiccuping along the way. It doesn't
mhm,
just go straight up there.
yeah.
But yeah, it's trying to make a new high. It's working on it. Gold
And
is
how
on
would you
top.
explain the bars underneath the gold and the red? What is they telling you?
This is my dynamic moving average histogram. So it measures the difference between the gold and the purple lines in the center of the sunny bands. That's my
Hmm.
DMA, dynamic moving average. So when it's gold, it says, when it's above zero and gold, it says gold, the gold line is on top.
Hmm.
When it turns red, that says you're losing momentum
Mm.
in that upward direction. So I sometimes use this as an early sell indicator. For the most part, I don't. For the most part, I just watch the sunny bands rules.
And the red is sloping down. Is there any significance to the slope down?
There is. That means it's heading for the zero line and are likely to go short.
Okay.
But I've seen it many times. You'll see back here, it's gold, 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 and then it's red, and then it goes
Yeah.
back to gold again.
But this is after a big run, and so you might
Mhm.
show a little bit of respect to the fact that it could be running out a little steam. Because, like I say, on Wednesday, if a CPI number came out showing that the inflation has come back and we're annualizing out at 5% or something, because if you're at 0.4 or better, it's going to be annualizing out at around 5 or better. And if that were to occur, that could change the temperature in the room a little bit.
Yeah, it sure could.
Because that's what it's going to take. It'll have to take something to make people think, hey, they're catching us leaning a little bit right now.
Well, you never know. We come up with brand new news every day or two. It's
Yeah,
a fast
yeah,
cycle.
yeah.
So right
Um,
now they think Los Angeles is on fire and full of
mm,
marauders, which it's not.
no, they just get the three streets that are going crazy, right?
Yeah, well, they filmed the three Waymo cars that
Right.
driverless cars that were on fire. I don't know how they caught fire, but they filmed that and made it look like it was all of Los Angeles.
Well, anyway, what are you thinking, Michael, as far as how we are right now, and anything you're seeing wave count wise that you want to show real quick? You want to grab the screen real quick just to give us an
Sure.
overview?
I can do
Because
that.
basically, Sunny's positive on the market, and she does think it's going to take out that top band, but it could be a little back and forth before it does it. Basically, that's what
Exactly.
you're thinking.
I actually agree with that. Um, Oh, sorry, I was going with what Harry was talking about before. Let me change that back over to the SPX. Not going to find out from that particular ETF. The Elliott count remains in line with I am also looking for new all-time highs. But the difference is I don't think it's a breakout. I think it's finishing. And I think it's finishing pretty large up. And to show you that, I need to go out to my at least a 5-year weekly. So, well, even further, because if I show you my maximum, you're going to see that goes back to 1928. And so this is a cycle degree, and we're finishing a cycle third. And it began in 1949. And it includes a whole bunch of stuff. For those of us old enough to remember the 70s, it includes the 70s in a very depressed, not depression, but definitely a not a good time to be true.
Inflation.
Yes, that one. And then here, this is the great financial collapse. Here's the crash of 87. Here we have the pandemic. And then we have the great, this great low that got called by quite a few, but the biggest one that I know was JP Morgan. And now that's the rally we're finishing. So I think, we're finishing up this primary five, and then inside of that's going to be five of intermediate. We got one, two, three, and four. Now I can come down to a 5-year chart. There's the three, the four. So since October of 2022, we've been involved in a fifth wave up of a good sized degree. And so within that, I got 5 waves of minor, and I got one, two, three, and four done. And four bottomed in April, April the 7th. And so from there, we've launched higher in a minor five. And it's kind of being true to form and that it's sloppy. And now we're getting, if it's not so bad looking on the SPX on the cash market, the future market is just producing a lot of up, down, and this way and that way, and just cross signals. Whereas the cash continues to suggest that we've got one, two, and we're heading up in the third. And if that's true, I really am looking for this to kind of launch. And breaking above 6,000 was major for the S&P because on an options basis, and if you have any understanding of option Greeks, there was a lot of gamma at that 6,000 level. And there remains a lot at that 6,000 level, but on the immediate near term, so that means like, this week, next week, um, it it got pushed up to about 6,100 until we get closer to that June expiration, which of course is a week from Friday. And sitting there is positions I've talked to you about, Jim, and they're still there. And so there's large amounts of gamma sitting right at 6,000. So I think the market continues to catch itself at that level. And of course, that's 6,000 SPX. So about 6,007 to 10 in the ES. And it continues to get stuck right there. Now, I'm glad that we're remaining above it, but you see what we did today. We ran up, we almost hit 20 or tried to get above 22. And so the next levels kind of come in at 60.50, which is a nice round number. And then 6,100. Mine come in for this smaller third about 60.75 up to 61.30. So I continue to figure they're going to go up and give a test to those upper levels. Once we get above, I think it's 61.60, the all-time high, then we're completing the task in my mind. So I think that the market needs to come up with, if it's really going to go, we've got to have something to kind of give it that final boost other than options trading. And that's what's kind of failing. So I'm also keeping in the back of my mind that this all could tip over, as you're suggesting. We've got the CPI and the PPI coming out this week. We've got some other things that are just kind of hanging over the market. Uh, these expirations are going to get larger because they're just building up towards them. But I think the one uh, canary in the coal mine, so to speak, are the treasuries, the bond market. And I think that could just bring a screeching halt to all of this. But before, what might give it that final boost that we can get up to 6,200 and above would be some type of a resolution or a calming factor to the trade war between the US and China. And as you mentioned, they're in discussions now, and we just don't know how it's all going to turn out, but everyone's hoping for some type of a resolution. Should that occur, I think we do an absolute reach for the stars type of a move. Um, I don't know if you guys can hear me or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jim, are you there? You're muted.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm muted. Harry, I wanted to bring you in here because one of the guys you are running with sometimes is Avi Gilbert, and I remember he was saying, and you were saying that he was looking for a new high to kind of culminate the run a bit. And is this the kind of activity he was kind of looking for, right? And then maybe the market may have a little bit more trouble after it breaks up to a new high.
Yeah,
Yes.
as you know, I'm a technical analyst. I don't not pay attention to fundamentals because I want to know what's triggering a stock necessarily. But once I'm in a position, it's purely technical. And I think there's too much attention paid to the market, quote unquote. You individual stocks are where most people make money on, or if you're trading, S&P futures or something. But let me just give you my take. I believe that too many people like myself, who are pretty smart and have experience, are looking for a top. And they're trying to pick where's the top coming in.
Yeah.
Remember Joe Granville from the 60s? Anybody?
Oh, how can we forget?
Yes. How
Sure.
could we forget?
Joe Grant, what was his famous phrase was the market climbs the wall of worry. Okay.
Right.
Okay. And let me tell you something. From the low we had of that spike low we had in April, the market has done nothing but V bottom and go up in a beautiful wave count, like Michael said. And I see this as just starting the fifth wave. We may have one, two of five, but we need to have three, four, and five of five, and that could be on a blow off stage. Now, the
Right.
other thing to keep in mind here is every single time, and I'm doing this, I'm 78, I've been doing this for a lot of years. Every single time a market reaches a major peaking area, all the tech stocks, the biotechs, all the other stocks usually have had the big run. So what is the last group to get going and spike up in a major way? And you're seeing it every day now. Small caps. Are you guys aware that the biggest divergence between large caps and small caps in 30 years has recently existed until the recent run? So that divergence has created so many ridiculously washed out stocks that are starting to emerge. Now, yeah, a lot of them are these reverse split stocks, these really thin stocks, and you got to be careful. They're great day trades, I'll give you that, in and out. But from the quality standpoint, what's going to happen is I think you're going to see a lot of stocks either peak out, maybe make higher highs slightly, maybe on lower volume, create some negative divergence. And when we get a blow off, and by the way, as you all know, the market always goes further than you think it's going to, both up and down, right?
Yeah.
So we're all looking for 6150, 6200. I think obviously looking for 6250. I wouldn't be shocked to see 65, 6600 on a blow off phase where the market goes vertical for a week. And then, everyone's excited. Maybe it'll be because they settle with China. I don't care what the fundamental reason is. I trade what I see, not what I think. So I'm not trying to be influenced by outside, external influences. Bottom line is, I look at the chart, it tells me what to do, and I go with it, whether it be day
Well,
trade.
let's put your chart up there, Harry, and let's start talking about IWM because I see it at this very big juncture at 215. And if it gets above 215, I don't see a whole lot holding it back. So this 215 neighborhood, to me, is really the Fisher cut bait type thing. And the all-time high is 245, and that's the same high as 2022. So this thing hasn't even made a new all-time high since 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And so you're right. I mean, you're obviously right. The evaluations are ridiculously favorable for this. The participation level is extremely low. So there's nothing but gasoline in the garage if they get the car above a certain level. I got this 215 number as a pretty big one. What do you think?
let's take a look. That's what I'm saying. If you take a look at all the indices did this. Five, and I know that Michael agrees with this. 1, 2, 3, 4, perfect five-wave decline, with the fifth wave being a climax high volume low, and then a massive high volume reversal. That told
Mm-hmm.
me we bottomed that day. Okay. Then it's been a week consolidating and wedging. Then we had a breakout. We went through lateral resistance. We went through the moving averages, the declining top line, and basically basically, to me, I could see 228 to 230 as my
Mhm.
target zone for IWM short
Mhm.
term. So that mean that if that occurs, because and the reason I give you that number is because if you look at the January, February highs in here, it's been a long time and at this zone having a problem around 229, 230
Mhm.
actually. So if we
Mhm.
get 230, we may be my short-term target. Beyond that, 244.5. That but until momentum is broken, you have to assume the trend's going to continue. The trend is your friend.
Yeah, and this mid cap is another group that is similar, and but it's not as cheap as the small caps. But oh, actually, the mid caps have already made their move. Yeah,
And
mid
take a
cap. So
look.
like VOT is mid caps for Vanguard. And it's already gone from 215 to 275. So that
And take a look.
one's already showed you what the next level up. Yeah.
You can take a
You,
look at the transportation the Dow 20.
uh-huh.
1, 2, 3, 4, and the fifth wave is about to start or blow out. And I
Yeah.
wouldn't be shocked to see this get up to about 16.5 to 6.7 to 16.8 in that zone up here. And maybe even blow off. Like I think there's a chance that all these indices can go vertical.
What
Mhm.
is the small caps heavy in the transport stocks?
No, 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 but mostly biotech and tech stocks.
Biotech, techs, and banks too a little bit.
Well, I guess there's small regional banks, but
Some financials. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. Financial is different.
Yeah,
If you
because I
take
was looking at the regional banks myself. BE, KRE is it or KBE? That's the regional bank. Is it KRE? I think it is.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That to me, I got some calls going here. I think it's going back to 70.
Now, this is amazing. I want to point this out to you guys. You see this? What is this to you to everybody here? It's an obvious inverse head and shoulders. Am I correct?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Notice the
know.
pullback held the moving average, held the moving, and now it's moving up again. You take the neckline out on KRE, the banks are going to be 60, the KRE will be 65, maybe 70. But take a look at this. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. That's the FAS, S&P 500. A little different, but they're all inverse head and shoulders. They're just beginning. If you measure the head to the neckline and that area there, and you got it up to 246.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no
So
doubt about it. What's the one you're using for the transport?
that's it. TRAN.
It wasn't like a ETF or something to
No.
trade off of because I normally use that what XTE or something like that or XT. I can't remember it offhand. XTM maybe.
Well, I don't know, but here's the
Because
bottom line. Very
yeah,
five wave declines have been followed by four wave up, and we haven't had a fifth wave. I'm looking for one. Avi's looking for one. I'm sure Michael's looking for one, and everybody in this room is looking for another wave up. But they're also looking for a target and a top. I'm telling you, the one thing that blows my mind about the market it always goes further than you think it's going to, up and down. That goes for individual stocks too. I have a stock I put out in just a few months ago in the low 40s that just hit 166 today, and not even a few months ago. Look, check this out. CoreWeave. It came out in IPO and
oh
hit
yeah,
when it broke out here. I put a swing on it at 44, and within 5 weeks, it was 166. It's a 300% move in 5 weeks.
Wow.
I told everyone to get out in the 150 range. It doesn't even look like it's done. It could be 200. It's got amazing momentum. But that's what I'm talking about. Anytime, if you bought that stock at 30 or 35 and the stock was trading at 100, you're saying, I'm selling it. I mean, here it is, 160. And so that's a typical example of when during a bull phase, stocks will go ahead of them, get ahead of themselves.
oh yeah.
And but you have to, and what I told everyone who's still in it is we're putting our stops right here under this bar at 132 is my stop out. I know it's a long way for 160, but you can drill down to a hourly chart and get a better idea.
Mhm.
You see the hourly chart? What a beauty, huh? It's telling me we're going to 210, 215.
The vehicle for the transports is XTN, X-ray Tommy Nancy.
Is it hourly? Yeah, same thing as the
Well,
trans.
that's the vehicle. If you want to drive the car, this is the car.
Yeah, anyway, you can see that's consolidating above the moving averages, which have crossed over. Major
Yep,
bull sign. Major bull
yep.
sign. It tested the move. And now it's formed. Actually, today, check this out. This is a bull wedge right here with the trend line that's showing a trend. So it ran up from the wedge and popped out today. It reversed though because it came to the high and reversed. This is going to be really interesting the next couple of days. If this blows through, you might see 85, you might see 90 quickly on.
I think I show 87 on mine.
Yep, that could very well be. And there's some resistance here at these lows and the gap across here. It comes in around 80, 86 and a half, 87. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the hottest game in town there, Harry? CRCL.
You
How do
know,
you ride? How do you ride that Bronco?
I told my people, I don't, it's like this is, you can't talk about this in my room. Okay, I won't talk about this stock because I know what's
Yeah,
going to happen. This stock will be, I guarantee it, within a month in half,
yeah, yeah.
if not worse. We've seen so
CoreWeave has
many,
a legitimate thing going, and it's a current thing going on right now. This
right.
thing is a little bit of a down the street, around the corner, over the hill, right?
And it's thin too. Another one I'm doing very well with is Okla.
Oh yeah,
Okla.
yeah.
Okay, I was long in here when it broke out. And we're long here, and I told them to sell half their positions up here with a tight stop under there, because if this trend breaks, it can come back to the moving average pretty quickly. But look at the momentum on these stocks. We can see 90 to 100 on this stock, and it wouldn't shock me with that group as hot as it is. Yeah. So we're doing, and here's another one, NBIS. We traded this after 5 waves up. We shorted it. It got crushed. We went long, and we sold it. Then it came down, broke back out. We bought it again. It retested and blew out. We sold it. We sold half of it today. That's that's what I do on my site. But I'm more interested in individual stock than the market. You can talk about the market all day, but how
Oh
we
yeah.
make our money is trading stocks.
What about the quantums? Do you think Rigetti might be ready to go again? RGTI?
It's actually
Or
trailing right. It's actually trailing right now. The stock to look at is this one,
that's what I was going to get to that one. Can't get them all in one voice, though, you know.
and QUBT.
Yeah.
If you take a look at RGTI, you'll see it's coming down here. It's not the same. It isn't what it used to be here. Now I think
Doesn't
it's
have the
up
leg.
because the rest. This is up here because the group is. I'd rather be in GRRR. We went low.
GRRR.
Yeah, Gorilla Technology. This stock broke
Is it
out
a
here.
quantum deal? It's not in quantum, though, is it?
I'm hearing it is a quantum deal, but
Oh, okay.
you can consider a lot of different stocks, a lot of different things.
Yeah,
And
right.
for convenience sake, you can call it a quantum stock. But the bottom line is a lot of stocks in that group, a lot of stocks in that group. Red Cat, I think it's considered a quantum stock now. They all have the same patterns. Notice they all ran up, they pulled down, they based out, they're breaking out again. This one, real good volume the last 3-4 days on the way through resistance right there. Targets 11 and 15 on this one.
What about in the crypto space? What do you got over there?
I only trade two stocks.
Anything going on with Hut? Maybe no Hut.
I only trade these two stocks.
Which ones?
This is CONL is the 2 times long ETF for Coinbase.
Okay.
Look at that drop. It went from 70 to 9 in 5-6 months. When it reversed and formed the flag in here, that's where we went long. It gapped up. It's formed another wedge. For me, and Michael will tell you this too, this is probably a 1, 2, 3, 4. Would you agree, Mike? If we're going to get a fifth wave, high 30s,
Yeah.
low 40s, we may see 50 on the stock. This stock traded a triple top in the 70s and has room to run. The other one is Mara, one of my favorites. I've traded it for years.
Those are one of the ones I'm talking about.
Yeah, and then you can see that same kind of pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down, reverse. And then right now it looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4. If this is the fifth wave, we might see 2021. It's currently 16. But this, there's better patterns for me. So I'm not
Yeah.
right now. I'm not these
keen
are
on
the
it.
two, but these are the two I would trade in that group if I was going to trade the group. But I'd rather stick with the quantum and the a couple of the other groups that we really really like in our room. But again,
What Riot though? One last one. Riot. RIOT.
I know I used to have I one time had such a big position in stock, it was like $1.50. Look way back in here. Look back in here. See it? It broke out and I got out way too early. But yeah, beautiful chart. And I don't like why it does have like an inverse head and shoulders with an upsloping neckline, and it just broke through resistance. So it may run to like 12 and 14. Volume is okay, technicals are okay, but I need more than okay. I want something that's more powerful. And the stocks in the quantum group are quite powerful. You know what? And also the stocks in the nuclear energy group. Those two by far are leading groups in the market right now. And in OK, you also have NNE in that group, which isn't as strong, but the other one is SMR. That's the big one. See where that just broke out to new highs here? Look at
Yeah.
that chart. This chart, this stock looks like it's headed for mid-70s. That's 40 points. It may very well, if there's a market blow off, these stocks will blow off.
Yeah, they'll be on the run. Hey, Sonny, you want to take over the board here and give us your rendition of the gold prices? It seems like they're having a little trouble staying above 3,500. But what do you think?
Let's look at gold at GC. We've got just a big old sideways movement going on here. I'm expecting gold to go to 5,000, but it has to work its way there. It can't go just straight to it. So it's sideways. It's in this little channel from here to here. And I think, and so that puts it right in the middle of that channel. I hope what happens is that this DMA, which is flat right through here, you see how that's not sloping up? I hope that that stops the movement and it goes on up from there. The sunny bands are getting closer together. They're narrowing. And that usually means impending big move. So I don't know whether it's going up or down at this point. If it goes below the DMA, it's going down.
Well, it sure looks toppy, Sonny.
Yeah.
Doesn't
And,
it?
the story backlog, Switzerland has deflation. China's got deflation. Switzerland's going to zero interest, and the ECB has cut rates 8 times in a row.
Oh,
So
wow.
that doesn't sound like the crazy inflation, nutty period of time that gold would generally,
Shine.
find. And if there was ever a deflation in this country for whatever reason, would all the assets, all the loans that are connected to debt, assets, real assets, like
In the
houses
precious metal group, silver's the play, not gold.
and platinum, right?
I don't like
I
silver.
think silver's got a chance of making a pretty big move. A lot of
Oh,
silver
yeah.
stocks,
Probably
a lot of
does. I still don't like it.
Yeah, put
Yeah.
up the silver, and then we can show you what a breakout looks like.
boom.
Well, it broke above 34, and
It's above
they
36.
took my blindfold off, and I said, "Yeah, I see it."
We have a longer term chart.
Sure, we can go time frame. It's on daily. Here's weekly. Want to go
There you
longer
go.
term than that?
It's
Well,
very
no, but you can see now this is the highest level we've reached in years. This is
Yeah.
a fantastic breakout. But
Yeah.
you're right, it's the top of the band and it's overbought short term. But
Mhm.
when you break through it, you broke through a double top here, almost a triple top, and you could get a lot of momentum. This thing could spike into the high 30s, even 40.
It could.
I think a lot of the basing, a lot of the work that they've been doing over the last few years is behind it. This is now in upward mode and looks better than gold, period.
Hmm.
It's
Mm.
positively divergent.
What do you think of platinum PLN 25? That's what the symbol is where I live. PLN platinum. Is that the future for you? PLN?
It doesn't like it.
PL, just plain PL.
Just PL? You don't have to put the month down?
There we go. It broke out too, didn't it?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
Well,
but
A little bit
There's
more
some-
expensive.
Not
There's
as
a great-
convincing. It's at resistance here. It's not convincing yet.
It is
Yeah.
at resistance. Look at this attractor right here.
oh,
Versus silver
Exactly it.
versus gold that's below it and silver that's above it.
Yeah, you're right.
There's a stock, IMPUY. Try that one. IMPUY. I got it at
Please
SIG.
recall.
Yep, IMPUY. Impala Platinum. $6 I jumped in, and it's doing its thing.
Look at that. You're going to be a rich man.
Now I'm going to cash out and grab the money. No, but it looks, it was a really, well, you see where your bands were at $6? It was a no-brainer there. You see you had gold and blue. So if you're ever going to buy a lot, wouldn't you buy it right around that $6 mark?
It makes sense.
Yeah, because, well, obviously you buy it
Yeah.
at 6, it goes to 550, you dump it. So it's, I like to have the exit very close to where the freeway is. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't want to get that far away from dry land. So buying it
There
up
you go.
here is a little too far away from dry land.
Yeah, and this is a sunny band signal because it comes up from the lower inner band above the
Mhm.
DMA. There's the buy right there. So
And the
that,
fundamental story is China bought more platinum in the first quarter than they have in very long time because people aren't buying the gold jewelry over there because it's so expensive. So now they're
mm,
going to be giving them platinum jewelry,
This
and
is a
it's
four, it's a 4 year
it's 30
chart. So,
cents on it's 30 cents on the dollar, so everybody makes out.
mhm,
Sonny, can I take a look at a shorter term chart on this?
surely.
Because that's a great long term trend, and it broke out of a base. But yeah, and a little bit longer than that. Okay, okay. Wow, look at that. Now wait a minute.
That looks like it's going to take a break to the downside, maybe.
What?
It does
Maybe
all
not.
of its move in the first part of the day and then it's done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of like the markets.
Yeah, kind of like it. Yeah, that's a hard one to trade because it's all the movement comes right here on the first bar of the day. First bar of the day.
That's because of overnight demand. That's probably for international traders.
Could be.
Yeah.
We want to take a look at the oil market because I've been kind of
Let's,
keen on it, and it's been paying off pretty good. CLN or CLM crude. Is that how you do crude? Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because when it was down at 55 on my 20-year graph, the RSI was hanging at 40. My feeling on RSI is if you can't break it under 40, you're not going to accelerate to the downside. If you're not going to accelerate to the downside, you're looking at the lows. And
Well,
so
this
I've been kind of bullish on it from the 55 mark, and it's been a good trade, obviously. But it looks
yeah,
like it's going to run into nothing but resistance now, right?
Jim,
Probably.
you got you got,
Michael, tell me if you see it this way. It looks to me like 1, 2, tried to get a 3 but couldn't. So that's a minor something going on there. And then 4 is sideways and 5 is up. It looks like to me it's almost done.
Mm,
A little bit more up, but not a lot.
I think it's an ABC up,
Oh, okay.
which is
Thank
corrective.
Now, that's another thing I was going to ask Harry. Harry, are you seeing any opportunities in the energy shares? Because they've been left for dead.
it's funny because I play momentum and I play the strong groups, and I've completely ignored this, and I'll tell you why. Up until this week, that pattern said to me that a top was struck. We came down, we rallied back to resistance, couldn't get through, and then retested the low. Now there's a double bottom there, like a W bottom. And then a run up to resistance, and now we have a platform that just broke out, had a minor little 3-day flag, and then the breakout. I agree with Sonny that's a tad overbought, but something tells me if you look at that prior move, not the prior move, but the one before that, it got overbought quickly, formed a little flag, and they got more overbought. And I think that's going to happen here. I think they could surprise to the upside. I don't know what's going to occur, but this
Well, I'll
thing
tell you
looks.
two things. China's going to sort it out, and there's going to be demand there, and they're closing down rigs like they're closing down J.C. Penney stores. I mean, does
I know
Baker
a
use?
lot.
Yeah,
Yep.
Baker use every Friday, or they announce this. So I mean, I'm just assuming if you close down a rig, you don't get much oil out of it, right?
you.
That's true.
I'm a sharp guy.
You really
Uh,
are.
so anyway,
Such a
yeah. So
grasp, such a grasp of the obvious,
yeah,
Jim.
exactly. Yeah, that's all you really need to, right? Kind of like Will Rogers said, buy land. They're not making any more of it.
Yeah,
Or Bernard Baruch said, "Buy your straw hats in the winter." Really?
yeah.
Thanks, Bernie. Um, anyway, so yeah, so there's a different now. One look at the interest rates, and then I was going to switch over to Michael so he could do a little wave count on some of these markets, and maybe we get some input there. But let's take a look at that 10-year note. If somebody can put that up,
Michael.
Oh,
Michael.
okay.
Okay,
Sure, I
you,
will.
you got your charts up here.
I can. Let me go back over to
Because that's what I'm saying. Wednesday full moon. I'm looking for action this week. You know,
but
that
Great.
what
CPI, that
size?
CPI, that CPI. This thing's at 450. If it needs a match, a big CPI number would be the match.
Here it is. I'm going to put it on. Let's put it on a 5 year.
Nice,
Can you put
nice.
it? Can you put it on the actual yield as opposed to the
I
futures?
can.
Because that's easier sometimes for people to understand. Because they see the rate on the TV going up or down. Obviously, if the rate's going up, you want to be short the market. I mean that kind of thing.
Well, it's kind of I have to switch this around. This is a much different count. It's easier for me to show it to you on the cash, on the bond itself, because
Okay, why don't you do it that way then? We
it's not
understand.
pretty.
Obviously, yields would obviously be dropping if you think it's
Right. I
rising.
mean, just
Yeah.
think this was 0.69.
Yeah.
That was the low. And so bond price high, yield is the low. And so originally I thought that was the first leg down of a much larger correction. So I was putting an A wave here. And then the market just had trouble catching back up and going back up because I was really looking for like 125-ish, maybe as high as even 125, between
Which would mean you'd
125.
be looking for yields to break under 4%.
I was,
Yeah.
but not anymore because what's the canary in the coal mine? It's been our treasuries, and they are not signaling that we're going to continue to see the Fed cut and cut and cut, even if they do meet their 2%, because like you mentioned earlier, we see inflation kind of coming up. So I went back and I took a look at this and I realized that I probably needed to put this in before. So coming down, it's always going to come down in five, and that's going to finish that first leg down. And right now I've got three, four, one, two. So the next move will be like get out of the pool because we're going to go down. And so actually what I'm looking for just from the whole thing is to get below par.
Wow.
I know. I know it is a big wow because it's like, what does that suggest if we kind of go over here and I got to go look at that note?
Kind of means they're worthless.
Well, well, not really. Um, but I think we could easily get to 5% here. Um, I'm not sure, but if we have the 30-year auction comes on June at the end of this month. And so I got to be honest with you, I'm looking for that thing to top 5%. And, look at the 30-year, look at the futures market. They are having the worst time in the world getting this to 113 to 114. So I just think it's like what I got to come back with is that we might have this B wave. So it could be A and a B, but what is going to happen here? We're going to spike. I think we're going to go up. That's an ABC. That's the A wave. There's the B wave. And now we're coming up in five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I think we end up above 5% before we come down again. And so it also, and just in terms of Elliott, you would consider it an irregular B because it's going to go up and make a new high above that A. And doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to stay up there because the result is that wherever it goes up to, it's going to turn and it's going to drop twice as fast. So how you want to put that picture together, how's it going to fit in an economic situation? There's just too many givens that got to come in to create it, but I think they're there. I definitely think they're there. I don't think that the market is pricing in any of the global problems that have now come about because of this effort to bring all the trade back to the United States by starting trade wars with everybody on the planet. So
The other thing that's interesting is the credit default swaps, the CDSs,
yeah,
are now priced higher to
yeah.
insure U.S. debt than Italy, France, and Europe.
Well,
So
you have to think about it as
that's a
when we're
pretty big
looking
number.
at they're going to start to auction these things. We got a big hint from the 20-year auction. Everyone was like, what? 5%? It came in above 5%. And why? Well, because, let's make it simple. We go out to buy a new car. What's the first thing they're going to check? Oh, your credit rating doesn't really suggest that we're going to give you that 1.9% interest rate, but we can give you 10% because your credit isn't good enough. Well, with the United States as looking for loans every month, every week, they suddenly their credit rating sucks, and so they can't get that low rate anymore. So when you want to borrow money from everybody under the sun, it's like, well, sorry, we're not going to give that to you at 4%. We're not going to give it to you at 3%. We might not even give it to you at 5. So what happens? Everything goes up. And then we have to look at what the longer term or shorter term damage could be from that. But I do see that's the canary in the coal mine. You want to look for a top? What happens when things start really getting out of control and those interest rates aren't going to drop? Is the market going to continue to go up? Are we really going to head into a recession? I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on that I think
There
that
are a lot of conflicting signals.
a lot of conflicting signals because and well, when we're talking about the markets, I think I agree with what Harry was saying. It's like I'm also looking. I know Arvi is looking for Alvi. Gilbert is looking for a top. Everybody's looking for a top. But I also have, and that's what I was showing before, I've got fibs that go up to 6,800.
Yep, I agree.
You were talking about a blow off top. Well, that would do it.
Yep.
But and you have to think what's going to create it. Well, we're up into new all-time highs. This never been here before. You got to cover
Short,
your short and you go
short
in a
squeeze.
panic to
That's right.
cover it.
Short squeeze.
So it's like, and the other point is like right now, and just in our day-to-day trading, when we've got they're doing these big option trades and they got to come in and they got to hedge, they're coming in with a larger number and they're coming in with greater flow, but they're not finding, if they're buying it, all the offers are gone. They don't find the offers they need, and they're coming in with an algorithm at the market. So ding, 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 she get this big move. And then suddenly it just drops back down. And I
Mm.
think that's like we're finding out in the market that it's like, well, there are a lot of people that are just not willing to come in and play as hard as they did because there aren't enough answers to, well, how can we build a long-term picture when we have no real clues to what it's going to be? So I think that that's kind of what we're confronting up at all-time highs. So I just think, yeah, we're going to reach it. We're going to hit the brick wall.
You can
Now,
tell.
whether that's 6,400, 6,500, 6,800, it's, I think with a strong enough short squeeze, you know, and and a lot of that could come from just the way that they trade these options. When you get a big gamma buildup and it happens to be for an upside move, there's a bunch of short calls. And if there's a bunch of short calls for June the 20th sitting at 6,000 or 6,100 or 6,200, and they blow through that, then every tick that trade or that firm or whatever is getting shorter. And they're not getting long. So it's the same thing. It's like if you're short the put and it comes down and it busts through a put wall, you're just getting longer every tick. And that we get panic after that. And I think that people need to, it's a much more complicated market right now.
Well, the
And
big thing is the earnings estimates are being raised constantly now, and also institutional investors who definitely de-risked during that period to the
right,
greatest level since Q4 of 2023. So their de-risking during that drop was tremendous, and they
yeah,
haven't fully loaded yet. So you get
right.
above 6,000 and you get any kind of earnings surprise in the upside, which starts July 15th, you're going to see a big jump out of that institutional money, and that could be the jet fuel that the guy's talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
FOMO. FOMO.
yeah, yeah. And so I just think that that is coming. And like the Harry saying, I'm saying, I think we're all saying the same thing, that yeah, a blow off top. Because we have to consider it's like what degree, it's a pretty high degree, and we're in uncharted waters. So when it goes, it's gonna go.
And there's no overhead resistance. It just keeps going.
Exactly. That's the
Yeah.
other point.
Yeah.
What can we say we're resistance outside of a fib level, right? Because
Mhm.
that's just math, right? But in terms of like right now, if we're still within an area where we've already traded, we go, well, the market traded there, so yeah, we should find resistance at that level, et cetera, et cetera. That doesn't exist. Once we get above these levels, it doesn't exist.
Blue sky.
Hey, do you want to throw the gold up and do a little wave count and see if
I
you see
sure
anything of
do
significance
because I
there?
have a
Because
little bit different
I got a
opinion.
feeling. I don't know. I mean, above
I
3380, I think it goes up again. Below
oh
3300, and I think
well, let me pull
you're
this
going to
puppy
revert to the
out.
mean because revert to the mean is certainly there. I mean, those long-term averages on my 20-year graph are at 2800. So I
Oh,
mean, we're like miles
yes,
above the thing.
yes, yes. And I do agree that it's like, where do we start to get overbought? I think we're there, but it's not stopping. One thing I want to show you about Elliott Wave, and Jim, you and I've talked about this before. In fact, Sonny, you and I've talked about this before. It's like we got 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. That's how many times this is subdividing. So it's subdividing off of a primary degree, an intermediate degree, a minor degree, a minute degree, and it just is finishing up the minuet degree. So we're way up there. So just to get this done, we have to have that here. Let me bring it back down now. So what we've got going on is the 3 and a 4 and the minuet. Then we're going up in the 5. So, but even in that, I think we still are sitting within inside this small 4. And so until we can break out again above 34, 30, then I got a chance that we're going to get up towards these upper levels.
Gold money's going into silver. Remember what I said.
I hear you. I hear you. And silver, it's also, I'll show you that one too. But here in gold, I think 5,000. Yeah, look at my levels. You stack them. And on the different degrees, and the red one is the maximum. That's the top degree that I'm counting here. So it's either going to be an intermediate, a cycle degree third, or a cycle degree C wave. Either way, it's going. And here I got 4587. So I think 5,000 is not out of the picture. But when's it going to happen? Well, I'm telling you, when it broke 3,000, nobody thought it would ever go up to 36 as quick as it did. And here we are. So I think there's still plenty more to go in gold. But right now, it's just getting its footing. It's relieving itself, but it's just consolidating. And that's the key word. It's consolidating at higher levels. It's not dropping, it's consolidating. And if it goes down to 3104, I bet you just got to wait and see what they're going to jump in. Now, silver, very, very, very interesting market in silver right now. I'm going to go here again. Now, Harry, you were mentioning WX. So this is 1980. This is 2011. And now we're coming up. And again, so what we have is a W, right? There's the W. Then we have an X, and now we have a Y. And see what we're in? There's the cup of the Y, and here we're in the tail of a Y. Right now, I got minimums coming up where it took a while, but once it started to break, it's not stoppable. So I have 38 next, and that's a cluster. So I think it kind of plays around there. Then I got 39 to 40, but it's actually 39. Actually, let's say 40 to 42. It's another cluster, plays around in there. Then you've got new highs. Got right there, which is going to match the 2011 high. But I think if that breaks, look where this one's sitting. And that's on the large level. It's like if the Y wave is going to be 100% of the X, actually of the C, then it's going to get to almost 58. So that's a new high. And I know there are people that are calling for it. We thought we were going to get it here. It got close, but it flunked. But if we think about this, and then just think about how it's trading. I mean, I can't really open it up a little bit, but I can. It just goes, goes, goes. And we're not even at this part yet.
It's just starting.
Yeah, we're just starting. Thank you.
Well, it's breaking out of a rounding base pattern, and it retested the moving averages. It broke out, and to me, every pullback is a buy, and I think this goes to 45.50
Yeah,
minimum.
yeah, yeah.
What about doing a count on SMH? I mean, that tech sector has really come back in a big way, and has it come back to a place where it's going to stall up here around 560, 260? Because 260 looked a little bit high.
I'll tell you, that's my monthly. Let me bring it down so we can see what's going on inside there. Same. This is exactly. Well, of course, it's an ETF, but look at the pattern. That was a way for everything everywhere else we look. The same.
It's heavy into Taiwan Semi, it's heavy into NVIDIA, and it's heavy into Broadcom. So,
absolutely.
when those horses stop running, believe me, tech stops running.
True, but if we're just looking at a pattern, let's keep it technical. The pattern on this ETF shows that is a wave 4.
5.
And now we're in a 5. 1, 2, and we're still in the 3. We might just be topping out in 3. Maybe we get back to that 267 area. Maybe we get up, maybe try to make a new high. Or if we do it, it's going to finish the 3rd, and then we come back down, and then we're going back up again, and that's where I think we can go. We got to get above that high to finish
let's put it this way. It'll probably do well if the market blows off, but they're so overextended short term that Jim said something earlier that kind of struck a chord with me, and that is the biotechs have been sleeping and small caps have been starting to go. So between
Yeah,
biotechs and small caps, you may see a blow off stage when even though the SMH does okay, it's not going to keep pace with the move in terms of percentages that you're going to get
right.
out of small caps
Well,
and
I think
biotech.
the biotechs, I agree with both of you that it is an area that trader, not only traders, but just people that have an interest in things need to pay attention. The developments and the advancements that are being made in the biotech sector and the inclusion of AI are producing incredible results. I was looking at a company that what they are doing is they're building cells, and they've now got it to where they can replicate and build heart cells. And so they haven't got it to beat yet, but they're building it, so it's incredible. It's incredible what they're coming up with. And so I think when that starts hitting on all cylinders, yes, I'm in agreement with you. And biotechnology, just in terms of medicines, just in terms of what they can develop and build, is I'm 71 and I'm like, wow.
Well,
Maybe
Michael, if you study all the major bull markets we've had in the last 40, 50 years, at the
yeah,
tail end of every market, the thinner stocks like biotechs and the small caps, they're usually pretty thin too. Those because there's the other there, let's put it this way, tech stocks are overbought. Nvidia was overbought. That's why that stock went down the way it did,
yeah.
despite its future. I mean, let's put it this way, overowned is what I meant. So I think the stocks that are not overowned, the ones that are thinner, the reverse splits, stocks that are going to be they're going to be wild and crazy stuff. If you see a blow off, there's going to be a lot of crazy trading going on. But
Oh, I agree. I agree.
maybe but it may be short and sweet. We don't know yet.
But see, but that's the other thing I talk about, Harry. It's like I think that it's like we've got to find something new that's going to carry the market. I was like, if we're saying, and I don't disagree with you, it's like, okay, NVIDIA, your days are kind of numbered. You're kind of overbought. You're kind of like in too many hands and all looking for 150 or above. And it's probably not going to happen. So we have to find something else that's going to move in and take that space, but also provide the lift that the markets are going to need. And I think there's enough capital out there. And I think that there's enough brain power in functioning in these and what you're talking about in the biotechs, yes. And in the small caps,
And,
yes.
and also in
Small caps become big caps eventually,
and
right?
the nuclear and quantum stocks, along with biotech and small caps, are where I want my money.
Oh yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, particularly biotech. Absolutely with you on that thought.
Now look at the momentum on the charts I showed you before, OKLO and SMR and stocks in the nuclear energy group, not to mention VST, which went from 40 to 160 or 80, whatever it
Yeah.
is.
But
So
I would actually, on your idea about biotechs, I agree, but I would look for biotechs that are heavy AI. They're really integrating AI into the
yeah,
whole
again,
process.
you have your fundamental reasons, and I have my tactical reasons.
Okay. And the two shall meet, I believe.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey,
Yeah.
Sonny, why don't we start doing around the horn here? And Sonny, why don't you explain a little bit about what you're doing for investors, and of course, what how they can get a hold of you, and any special promotions you might have.
Sure, it's really easy to get a hold of me. You go to moneymentor.com, which is my website, right, and he just put it in the chat. Right in the upper right corner is my phone number, which is 760-908-3070. That's my cell phone. I answer it myself. I don't have a salesman that'll bombard you, but I do love to talk to people. I love to talk to the people who want to be traders, who have been trading but not doing very well. I love to help them. So I have moneymentor.com. I also have a live trading room every morning from 7:30 to 8 Pacific time. If you text me guest pass to that phone number, then I'll set you up to come on Wednesday. And
Okay,
I
yeah.
have, then of course I have Sunny Bands. You can purchase Sunny Bands.
Absolutely.
And Michael, could you give people a little rundown on what you've got cooking and how you can help them?
Sure. I right now I have YouTube memberships and I do daily morning and daily updates on the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100. I also publish on a weekly basis the Dow, gold, silver, platinum, treasuries, and the Russell and the Dow. Excuse me. Um, I am revamping my memberships, and there's going to be one price covers everything. Plus, I have a live stream, aka also known as a trading room, and I'm going to be redoing that as well, where we meet each morning, and it's basically going to be for people that actually trade. That it could be a day trader or a swing trader, doesn't make any difference because all kind of fit in. Um, and that also want to work on mindset. That's my new thing. It's the mindset because so many people they have the best ideas and they know how to do it, but their mindset just is not in the right place. So we're going to be doing a lot of work on that as well to just kind of help and coach people into their own success.
Sure. And Harry, can you again explain how the trading room works every day and other things that you provide?
Of course, at the TechTrader.com, we are mostly day traders, but we do swings, and I provide swing ideas as well as day trade ideas. I'm online with my people every morning before 4 a.m. In Los Angeles at 7 a.m., obviously Eastern. And I do a lot of work pre-market, going over dozens of charts, creating a focus list, then put out buy alerts before the market opens. Many times we make enough money pre-market where we don't have to even trade during the day. But during the day, we have a live trading room all day till the market closes. It's even live after hours and at night. It's open all the time. You can communicate with each other. But more importantly, I'm available to ask questions to directly. If you go to the Tech Trader, thetechtrader.com, and sign up for a 2-week free trial, no credit card necessary, come join the room and see what we're doing, and you get a great idea of how we operate and the accuracy at which we're trading in at the techtrader.com. Also, the amount of people in my room in terms of brilliant trading minds is really something to behold. And I think it's a place where you can participate, learn. And I've been told that 2 months in my room is like 2 years in a classroom.
And nothing like shortening the learning curve, right?
That's
You
right.
bet.
Yeah. Okay, guys. And as far as Option Professor is concerned, my firm is trading with, doing a meeting, a webinar, option seminar tomorrow with trading indicators. So if you'd like to get a link to that, just send an email to optionprofessor@gmail.com. That's OPTION professor@gmail.com. And it is a free seminar, and it's going to be happening tomorrow. So if you have an interest in learning more about how we do it and things like that, that's how you can get in touch. All right. Thank you, Sonny. Thank you, Michael. And thank you, Harry.
Welcome.
Always a good time to get together with you guys. We'll do it again soon, and I'll send it right back over to David.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, excellent discussion. So just a quick reminder for everyone, be sure to subscribe to Timing Research on YouTube, also on Substack or your favorite podcast app. You can get the recordings any of those places. Also, if you just go to TimingResearch.com, you can get access to any of the past shows and presentations there as well. So just want to thank my guests again for today. Michael Filighera of LogicalSignals.com, Sonny Harris of MoneyMentor.com, Harry Boxer of TheTechTrader.com, and the Option Professor of OptionProfessor.com. Someone just asked about the recording. Yeah, like I just said, it will be on TimingResearch.com as soon as I can get it processed. Also, you can search for Timing Research on YouTube, Substack, or your favorite podcast app. All right. And that's it for tonight. Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
David.
All right, thanks a lot.
Is 5 o'clock.